Hello, friends, and welcome back to an amazing brand new live stream. So, guys, Donald Trump has spent years calling Barack Obama's Iran's nuclear deal the worst agreement in the American history. But now he withdrew from it, promised something stronger, tougher, and more effective, and told the voters that he could force Iran into accepting the terms Obama never could achieve. But now, after the months of conflict, diplomacy, military action, and the intense negotiations, an uncomfortable question is starting to emerge in Washington. So, guys, he says, what if Trump ends with a deal that looks surprisingly similar to the one he spent years attacking? So that's the political problem facing the White House right now. Trump supporters argue the comparison is completely unfair. They point out that the Iran's military capabilities have been severely degraded and the key facilities have been damaged, and Tehran is negotiating from a far weaker position than it was during Obama's presidency. So their argument is also simple, even if some of the diplomatic language looks familiar. The circumstances are entirely different. But here, critics aren't buying this demo because they argue that years of claiming Obama's approach was a disaster, Trump is now discovering how difficult it is to permanently solve the Iran problem. Reports surrounding the current memorandum of understanding suggest the agreement could include also the restrictions, monitoring mechanisms, negotiations over enrichment, and the phased commitments. So these elements that sound familiar to anyone who remember the 2015 nuclear deal. Critics say that's not because Obama was weak. They say it because diplomacy with the Iran inevitably involves compromise, and that's where the things get politically awkward. The more Trump's negotiations move towards a realistic agreement, the harder it becomes to explain why Obama's deal was supposedly unacceptable, while a similar framework is now being presented as a breakthrough. And that's why comparisons between the two presidents have intensified in the recent weeks. Several commentators have argued that the Trump may be discovering firsthand the limitations of military pressure and the reality that even America's strongest leverage cannot simply force Iran to surrender unconditionally. What's especially striking is Trump's continued focus on Obama throughout the negotiations. And during recent remarks, Trump once again blasted Obama's handling of Iran and claimed the previous administration had been outmaneuvered by Tehran. So that focus has fueled the speculation among the critics that this has become about more than the foreign policy. They argue Trump isn't just trying to secure a deal with Iran, he's trying to secure a deal that can be clearly marketed as better than Obama's. The challenge is that the closer negotiations get to reality, the harder that distinction becomes to draw. And supporters of the administration see things very differently. They argued Obama's agreement relied heavily on trust, inspection, and future compliance, while the Trump's strategy first imposed enormous military and economic cost on Iran before negotiations even begin. From their perspective, the fact that the Iran ended talks about suffering major setbacks itself a proof that Trump's strategy worked. So, guys, who is right here? The answer may depend on what happens next. If Iran complies with the future commitments and its nuclear ambitions remain constrained for years to come, Trump supporters will likely argue that a pressure succeeded where Obama's diplomacy failed. But if the final agreement ends up resembling the very framework Trump once condemned, critics will have a powerful argument of their own. One, that the years of attacking Obama's strategy, Trump ultimately arrived at a similar destination through a far more expensive route. And that's why this story is bigger than the Iran. It's about legacy, it's about whether foreign policy is judged by rhetoric or results. And it's about two presidents where approaches couldn't be more different, yet who may end up being linked by the very issue that defined both of their Middle East strategies. And the final agreement hasn't been signed yet. The details are still evolving, but one thing is already clear. Whether Trump likes it or not, Barack Obama's shadow is hanging over every single step of this negotiation. And the closer the two deals appear, the louder that comparison is going to become. So, guys, who do you think has the better strategy of resolving this Iran conflict? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.